7:08 here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. You are listening to the Metro South Morning Show, PM in the AM. Peter Zimble and Mike Pivot here with you on this Tuesday morning. Joining us right now in studio is a man who joins us each and every Tuesday following a Brockton City Council meeting and following many FinCom meetings, as a matter of fact, as well. He is the reigning City Council President in the City of Brockton, Mr. Robert Sullivan. Good morning.
Peter, good morning. Mike, good morning. It's cold out there, so if you haven't been out yet, you're going to see how cold it really is out there
We've been inside for the past hour and we've been quite comfortable and enjoying it. FinCom meeting last night held at Council Chambers at City Hall. A lot has been going on and a lot has been made of many City Council meetings and FinCom meetings as of late. Tell us exactly what went down last night.
Yeah, I mean, we had a full agenda last night. The mayor had put forward 8 appointments for people, Brockton residents, to serve as volunteers on certain boards to fill some expired terms of some other people. It ran the gamut from the License Commission to the Planning Board to the Board of Parks Commissioners, War Memorial Building trustees, and the Redevelopment Authority. So there was 8 people that came before us. They were all there. They all had submitted resumes, and it was passed favorable to the full City Council unanimously. So those individuals, the final vote will come next Monday. He also had put forward, meaning the mayor, had put forward 2 reappointments, one to the War Memorial Building and one to the board of the Brockton Public Library. So we again, coming into a new administration, this is typical where, January, February, March, maybe even April, you're trying to kind of vet out and work out some of the appointment processes. But those are some really qualified people that came for us. We also had Mr. Malley, who's, of course, the executive director of the Parking Authority, Bob Malley. He was looking for a transfer of $3,000 to really fund through the end of the fiscal year. The city leases a parking lot on Petronelli Way. There's really such a need right now and a demand for parking. So that did, again, pass favorable to the full City Council. There's the question that I asked Mr. Malley is, what's the term of the lease? It is a 12-year lease, so there is some money that's generated out of that. There was also a pretty lengthy discussion relative to, and if you're pro or con, it doesn't really matter because the voters in the Commonwealth decided medical marijuana was a good thing, and it will be coming to fruition. And of course, the state did grant a license to one of the applicants. Those 3 applicants. What we were talking about last night as a city council finance committee meeting is within the ordinance, the law that we passed last year. Ordinance committee recommended it after many months of working on it. The city council ratified it before the end of the calendar year, so it passed in the last legislative session. But within that, with the verbiage, within the language of the ordinance, there is a call for and a need to establish an application fee, not the license, and that was what was clarified last night. The state, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, grants the license to a medical marijuana company. But the municipality, the city or town where it's going to be located has the ability to charge a one-time application fee because, again, they have to go through the process of planning and talking to the fire department and going potentially to the ZBA zoning board. And the discussion came, we had originally proposed about a $1,500 application fee, a one-time fee. It has to be fair and reasonable. It cannot be unjust enrichment. But it was postponed to the next FinCom because my colleagues and myself, we need some more time to look at and analyze what other cities and towns are doing. Councilor at Large Barnes had brought to the attention that some are charging, $5,000. So again, we're not in it to make money, and you can't. Our legislative counsel, our attorney, explained to us, listen, this isn't a money maker; it's an application fee, and it has to be reasonable. And I think we all understand that, but at the same time, we want to make sure that Brockton is being well served by the dollar amount that we put on the books. So again, that was explained in depth. We had Phil Nezzarello, the city solicitor, come before us, and the city clerk, Mr. Zioli, gave us some information. Marty Brophy, who's the city treasurer, was there as well. So, these were some things that needed to be discussed last night. 2 other issues that came up. One was the resolve that had been filed by all 11 members of the city council serving on the finance committee, Peter and Mike, relative to the cable contract. We've been talking about it for quite some time now on, is there a memorandum of understanding? What are the terms? What are the obligations? What are the rights? The triggering component to that was that the mayor is funding 80% of one of his employees, staff employees' salary from cable, which it seems like he can do that. But we need to make sure we really, everybody collectively, the mayor, the city council, the lawyers, really have a firm grasp on what the obligations are. So Mr. Lindy was there from Brockton Community Access. Attorney Nezarella again was there. The mayor was there. Mr. Condon, who's the CFO, was there. And I think we're starting to get really a firm understanding of what's in there. The council, we vetted it out for some time, but it was a favorable recommendation to the full council.
Excellent. Let's talk about a few things that you mentioned within the many points that you just delved upon moments ago. And by the way, there is more, correct?
Yes.
Would you like to why don't you get to the more, and then we'll
cover
everything.
There's two more things. So we also talked about last night, and it carried over from some previous conversations. The mayor's looking to restore some funding from his budget office department relative to separation costs to some people that had worked for the previous mayor, Mayor Linda Belzotti. It was $11,864. The CFO came before us to explain, what that is. There, of course, is a legal obligation, a moral obligation too, to pay someone when they're not going to be retained. And they were paid; those people were paid. So this is replenishing that dollar amount from the mayor's budget. It's coming actually from the finance department, personnel services, other than overtime, to the mayor. It was discussed. The CFO explained it. I think everybody understood the rationale and the basis for it. So that did pass favorable to the full city council. And then the other transfer request was $23,004 again from the finance department to the mayor's department. And that's providing additional financing for present members of the mayor's staff, those that work for Mayor Carpenter right now, for fiscal 2014. It was a decreased dollar amount. As you remember, we talked about this before, so it has come down quite a bit. We talked about it really probably for at least a half an hour or so, and it did pass favorable to the full city council. So, again, just so the listeners understand, anything that was voted on last night, favorable, the final vote comes at the city council meeting. So these were all preliminary votes, but they all were favorable back to the full board.
You mentioned that medical marijuana was a large portion of the discussion last night held at the FinCom meeting, and what the fees would be for the application fee for the one licensed distributor of medical marijuana in the region. You mentioned that whether you're pro or con medical marijuana, this is coming. There were some concerns from some political types in Brockton about the organization which was coming as opposed to some others which try to get the license. Did you have any of those concerns, and what can you tell us about who is getting the license?
Yeah, I actually said, I sat on the ordinance committee last year, and I don't sit on it this year by virtue of being the council president, but I said in open forums, and they're on the minutes, I said, quite honestly, I don't care who the applicants are. I don't care who ultimately gets chosen by the state. The only thing I care about is making sure that we enact a law that protects the people that I serve. Again, it wasn't something necessarily that I favored, but it was passed at the ballot box. So I didn't care, and I didn't have any interest one way or the other who these applicants were. I know those three of them, but ultimately myself, and at that time we also had Council at Large Todd Petty and Tom Brophy on the ordinance committee, and we really worked hard. We got a lot of input from people. So I can't comment on the applicants or what the state decided, and I know who they ended up choosing, but again, my only concern was protecting the interest, the public welfare and safety of the people that I serve, the citizens of the city of Brockton, the taxpayers. And, I think the Councilor Yaneri from Ward 3, it's in his district. The overlay district now is on West Chestnut Street in Ward 3. So, we spent a lot of time, and our councilor from Ward 6, our colleague Michelle Dubois, was even though she didn't sit on the ordinance committee, she was very diligent on that as well. So, quite honestly, Peter, it's coming. We need to make sure that the safeguards are in place and the laws are in place. And last night was just another component of the law, and this is a dollar amount that the city will charge ultimately for an application.
How soon will this be coming, and where will it be?
Well, the person, the group, the entity that was chosen by the state hasn't been able to apply yet because of the fact that the application fee hasn't been set, so they can't start the ball rolling. I believe that they're going to have to go to the ZBA, and I think the most recent cutoff deadline to apply for the ZBA would be March 13th. I don't necessarily think we're going to meet that deadline because, again, we need to figure out what the correct dollar amount is, and it was postponed to the next Finance Committee. So that's really nearly impossible since we're not meeting at FENCOM again until St. Patrick's Day, the 17th. So, I don't think we need to rush this. I think we need to be careful. I know some of my colleagues, Councilor Moses Rodriguez, said, listen, we don't want to cheat ourselves, and I agree with that. I do understand that it's not a moneymaker. It's an application fee, much like if you're applying for a milk license or a liquor license or a common victualler license. So it's going to take some more time, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more discussion. And I know all the other boards, all the other volunteers that serve the boards of the city of Brockton that's going to have to deal with it. They'll take it serious as well. It's a serious, issue, and eventually we'll get there.
You mentioned many appointments by the mayor last night. There was an issue recently involving the appointment of someone to the Water Commission, someone who you appointed, that it seemed like the mayor took exception with, so much so that there was a lawsuit until it was dropped, as reported by Mike Pava this morning. Tell us what the latest is in regards to the appointment of Kate Archer to the Water Commission and what is going on with what seems to be the disagreement on who has power to appoint who to commissions in the city.
Yeah, I mean, to my knowledge, I don't know where Mike got that. I'm not aware, as of I sit here right now, that it was officially withdrawn. Maybe it has been. As of last night when I left City Hall, that wasn't what my understanding was. But again, in my opinion, and maybe it's because I'm an attorney in office of the court, I'd rather not talk about it right now because, in my opinion, it's still a pending matter. And ultimately, I hope that the mayor does withdraw it because, as I said before, it's not beneficial to the city of Brockton. It's a waste of time and a waste of resources, in my humble opinion. And again, ultimately, listen, we're elected to help Brockton, and we're elected to serve the residents, the constituents, the taxpayers. The mayor is, the school committee, the city council. So, we need to get along, and we need to better Brockton. But again, I'm not really going to comment on it right now because, again, I wasn't aware that it was withdrawn. I don't believe that is true. The court's not open as of yet right now. So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out.
Just want to make sure my information wasn't erroneous, Mike.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a hearing yesterday, I believe.
Yeah,
the hearing
so
was
that's
not
correct. There was
rescheduled
a 2 o'clock at Superior Court yesterday set for the docket. The lawyers for the city and the city council did speak. I believe the date was taken off the docket, but I think the matter is still pending in court. But again, I don't really want to comment on it because I want to get some more clarity if the mayor did indeed withdraw. But I don't think as of right now, that's the case. But we'll find out.
Outside of the issue from itself, you're a lawyer, I'm not. How does it work when the city sues the city when it's two branches of government within the same city? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, I've been on the council 9 years. I haven't experienced that before. So I can't really comment on that, but it's never good. But of course, lawsuits are not always the greatest thing, no matter if it's a municipality or a slip and fall or a car accident. I mean, ultimately, we do have a judicial system in place for a reason, but I don't really want to talk about that specific right now because, again, it is a pending matter, and it's either going to be withdrawn or we're going to work it through the system, and we'll see what the judicial system states.
What's the relationship between the city council and Mayor Bill Carpenter right now, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that again, no matter if it's a new mayor or an existing mayor, there is. There's a separation of powers. There's the legislative branch, which is the city council, and there's the executive branch, the mayor. And of course, the mayor is elected citywide, and there's 4 members of the city council that are elected citywide. So, we're all pulling from the same electorate. But we need to understand that we need to work together collaboratively, and that's why I was really banging the drum to have that joint meeting that we had at West Middle School recently with the mayor and the school committee, Southeastern Regional, and again the city council. Ultimately, when you serve, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of anguish and a lot of frustration and a lot of confusion at times. And you have people at home, either your spouse or your children, that are being sacrificed because of that. And it's a situation right now where we need to turn the page and let's get to work and roll up the sleeves and really. Just do what we're elected to do. I mean, that's my opinion. But again, I'm only one of 11, so that's a question you might want to ask to each and every person that serves on the city council, and the mayor himself. But let's just let's get back to work.
You mentioned the next city council meeting is St. Patrick's Day. You know where you will be that morning, of course, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Where is that? I just want to make sure you know. I'm testing you.
I'm going to be here.
There you go. The council cords will be.
I'm going to be here. I mean, it's on my calendar. It's on the neon sign outside my house. I got to go see Peter.
We
and
might
Mike
not get all of them, but we'll get enough.
Yeah, well, some of them might start a little early too. I don't know, but technically 12:01 will be will be the start of the day. So, I think St. Patrick's Day. I mean, if you're Irish or if you're not Irish, it's always a great time. Just always be safe, and I look forward to it. And I know the Council on Aging, Janice Fitzgerald down there is having, and she does every year, just a great event, great food. It's so well attended by the elders and the senior citizens in our community. It's just fun. So you make it a fun day, and I'll be here. I can't speak for everybody, but I'll be here. Is wearing a shade of green optional or mandatory?
It's optional but encouraged. How's that?
I like that. That's diplomatic of you, Peter. That's the way to do it.
Tom Monahan, I'm a little concerned about, Ward 2 City Councilor. He recently asked someone who is looking to expand their tropical grocery store if they would still have Guinness at a city council meeting. So I'm slightly concerned for his well-being right now. Well, anyways, we look forward to the council courts performing St. Patrick's Day. Any final words for our listeners before we let you go?
No, last night we had a finance committee meeting. It was well attended. I mean, the audience was pretty good, and we'll meet next week for full city council, and we'll just keep doing, as they say, the people's work, and let's just all work together.
Well, we'll have you in studio once again soon, I'm sure. That's Robert Sullivan, Brockton City Council President, joining us here on WXBR. We're going to step aside for a quick break. Local news on its way. Stick with us.